Meu nome é Larissa Muniz.
My name is LARISSA Muniz. I'm 24 years old. And my suffering began when I was a child. When I was 6 years old, I was sexually abused by someone I trusted. So every time that I would see that person that I was in the same place, he would make a way to abuse me. So it was several times, sometimes when I was sleeping. And my family trusted him. No one ever had any doubt. I was scared to tell people about this because I felt guilty and I didn't know how to resolve it, how to get relief from the pain. So when I was 13 years old, I thought the best way to defend myself to not suffer is to transform into a man. That's when I decided inside of me that I wanted to be a man. So I started going to the gym to inject masculine hormones in my body, to do a work, because my dream was to remove my breasts. I wanted to have a shaved head. I wanted to be a true man. So I went into death in this world, going to places where people thought like I did. So I got involved with a lot of women, married women that had a family. I would go after them. I would get whoever I wanted and I would go out with them. I had a status. I remember I would post a lot of pictures about the mask that I would live of a happy person in that world that was free doing whatever she wanted. I would go to the gym. I would train. I would take pictures to show people how I was strong, powerful. I wanted a status. I wanted my ego to be big. I wanted all this to calm down all that confusion inside of me. That's when I got involved with a lot of women. I lived with 3 different women. And none of these relationships that I thought I'd be happy in was I happy in, because it was an empty relationship. We never got along with any of them. They were totally different. I was never happy and they were never happy. Although I never had a need, I always had a good job. I was always able to pay the rent. I never was truly happy. It was always a relationship with a lot of fights, arguments. I remember that there was a relationship, a woman that lived with me. We fought physically. There was no respect. It didn't exist anymore. There was emotional abuse, threats, but this time we physically fought and she ran to my mom's house and I went after her. But I was so angry and I tried to hit my mom. I threw a bucket at my mom's face because I didn't have limits. I saw that I was totally out of control. And that woman, she left. I no longer got involved with her, but then I started living with another one. And again, it was another empty relationship without happiness. There's no peace. And she left and I couldn't handle it anymore. That's when I thought about killing myself because I thought there's no solution. I already changed my body. I take hormones. I do what I want. I have a job. I study, but nothing resolves my problems. So I'm going to kill myself. And it was around 3 in the morning and I left home. It was 3 a.m. I laid down in the street and I said a bus is going to pass by and kill me because I'm tired of this life. I had no peace, no rest, and the bus didn't come by, but I saw myself at the bottom of the pit. I had nowhere to go. The next day, I would suffer again. I would have to kill myself so this anguish would leave. And that's when my mom, she had changed with me. She stopped confronting me and I noticed it. I saw she was coming to the Universal Church and she hadn't invited me yet. And I went to visit her and said, "Look, you can forget. Stop praying for me. I prefer to go to hell than to set foot in the Universal Church, in the Church of the Bishop." That's what I told her. But she had not told me anything that night. But I felt so angry that I would see her change because there was no one else to fight with. She would no longer argue with me, so I felt anger. But I saw my life had no solution. My life was not happy. I had no peace. So I surrendered myself, I removed its arrogance, and she invited me to come a Sunday, and I came to the Universal Church, and I thought people wouldn't receive me well because my appearance was of a man. I would use men's shoes, shirt inside of my trousers, and I came thinking that people would argue with me, be offensive, and the first thing when I came in, I was like, who's going to be the first one who's going to accuse me, make me suffer? Because every place that I would go, someone would always accuse me. But I wasn't accused. People received me very well. They were really happy, like if I was part of their family, like if they knew me for a long time, happy that I was there. So I went little by little, paying attention to the meeting, to know the truth, because I didn't see a problem in the life I was living, in getting involved with other women, shaving my hair, acting the way I did. I didn't see a problem. I thought it was normal. But then I found the truth, and it created a conflict within me, and I discovered why I had suffered. All that strength that I put in to live a life that wasn't mine, it's like wearing a shoe that's not yours. That's how I felt. And when I came to the church, I discovered that all my attitudes since I was a child to adult, they were all towards trying to free that child who had suffered, who had been abused. And that's when I decided to forgive. I forgave the masculine figure, my father, to forgive myself because I felt guilty. And when I decided that I forgave myself, that's when I became free from this trauma, from this memory, without being accused by any person. I noticed that I was a woman, that I could be whoever I wanted. I didn't need to force myself to be someone I wasn't, to dress a certain way to relieve of pain. I became free from that feeling, that anger, that grudge. And I would hear a lot about the Holy Spirit, and I noticed that's what's lacking in me. So I placed all my strength. I got rid of my friends. I got off social networks. I got rid of everyone's contact number in my past. It wasn't easy because all of them told me I was going to be deceived. I wouldn't be happy. I'd be living a life based on others' thoughts. I would be manipulated in the Universal Church. But in the Universal Church, I found this support that I didn't think I would, because I thought people would judge me, would create a conflict at me, point fingers at the way I dressed, acted. But here I found the support I needed to change my life. And the friends, close friends, a lot of family members that said they wanted my well-being, that they loved me, to see me happy. Many of them judged me. They pointed fingers at me because of the church. They were against the Universal Church. They judged the Universal Church that it's done. And this did not change my decision, because I heard about the Holy Spirit who changes the life of people. That's when I sought it with all my heart, and I didn't know peace existed. And it was the most important day of my life, because I didn't know this peace existed. And when the Holy Spirit spoke to me, I remember it was in the Sunday morning service. I wasn't seeking, I was watching the meeting, the moment of the preaching, and the Holy Spirit told me, "Yes, my daughter, I'm with you." And I received the Holy Spirit, and I received so much peace. I couldn't control my tears because I discovered that I didn't need to drink people. I didn't need to hide behind a trauma and emptiness. I discovered that happiness existed because I was taken by an uncontrollable happiness that wouldn't end at any moment. And from then onwards, I had a great desire to tell others about how God was real, about the life I lived in the past was full of lies, of illusion, a life that is not for them. There was such a great desire to scream at everyone who the Holy Spirit was. That's when my life began. That's when I started existing, because after my encounter with God, baptism with the Holy Spirit, my life was different. I had the hope I no longer had, perspective on life. I had a desire to live, to be somebody, to be a better woman, to be a better friend, a better daughter. My family had pleasure in my presence, to be around me, my mom, my sister, all my family. I started to have a perspective on life, to visualize a future and run after it. And today, thank God, I have the Holy Spirit, which is everything for me. He also gave me a marriage to a man of God, a marvelous man, also full of His Spirit. We're part of the same project, the same group, the youth group, and we work with the sport group part in this project. And it's a life that I never imagined I would have. In the past, I never thought that I'd be happy like this because I had no perspective. What I lived was one day after another, desperate to be happy, one day trying to do something I hadn't done to see if I would be happy. But today, no. I have a peace. No matter my exterior condition, I have peace. My husband has peace. It's really worth it to let go of who you are, to lose your life, to lose the life you have so that you can receive the life Jesus has, because it's a life that exceeds our thoughts. It exceeds my thoughts where I thought I would come. And today I found true peace, genuine peace, because it comes through my faith, through the Holy Spirit in my life with God.